But yeah, I guess back to what was it? You can ring my bell. Um, I guess like what's like a like do you think you can recall like maybe like one day, the one day that you were actually like listening to it, or the one moment where you felt like you
My
could
room,
like
I
plug
remember.
in?
I remember I was in my room. Um, well, maybe I heard it at school and came back to my room and started rewinding it. I think I heard it at school, after school, in somebody's car or something, and then I came home and was on the lookout for it and recorded it, and then started just listening to it over and over in my room. So yeah, I kind of do remember that day. I was in elementary school.
Okay, okay. Do you have you ever had like any times in the future where you heard that and it reminded you of that time?
I think so initially, yeah. But my musical mind has evolved, so I don't even hear music the way I heard music then. Like a lot of the ways I felt when I heard music then, I feel when I hear it now, I have so much more understanding. I have a different interpretation of the same songs. I used to just be taken away, like when a Prince song come on, I just be taken away and just be gone. Now I hear the bass line, I hear the rhythm guitar, I hear the synth, I hear, you know what I mean? I hear the drums, in particular what the drums are doing. I hear the background vocals. Like I think when I was young, I ain't hear none of that. I just was feeling it all. And maybe I heard the words, maybe, but I just felt it all and just loved it. So I don't feel the exact same way. Some of it does, some of it brings me back though. Some songs that I haven't heard since then will bring some feelings back. But if I've been hearing it the whole time, I've been attaching different interpretations as my mind expands, my musical mind expands, then I interpret music differently. Even now, even still, even from when I was checking out bebop and jazz in college, the way it felt to me then, like, and now I'm on some way abstract. Like, it's a different interpretation.
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, like, not gonna understand that. The thing is, man, I think that's the way that it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like, I don't think there's any song that I like I've heard and that I listen to, and there's like a lot of songs that I like listen to that I've listened to since I was younger. There's like phases. It's almost like after every period, I always hear a different way, and I
right,
hear like different parts, and I hear different things in it.
right,
Um, and like you said, like sometimes it does become a point where there are times where I do hear each individual instrument, but I think the main thing for me is hearing like how different instruments like interplay with one another.
right,
Basically, like whenever I hear, yeah, like just perfect like combinations and interactions between instruments in an actual composition, like I love that shit.
hmm,
Um, but then also, man, like yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind, yo, is in some sense like that, is like like cameos like Candy.
I love
Yeah,
that one too.
yo, like I love like that track. I always loved it. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't like love it the way I love it that I do like now. Like at one point it was just it was cameo and it was Candy. It was on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like had it. That's what it was. It was good, but it just didn't have the same thing. Later on, it became something where it was like a certified, like kind of like classic, or I accepted it personally as a classic, and I liked more things about it. But then there was another period when I got older where I actually started to like listen to it, and I was like, "Yo, this shit is like genius." And then just started to like hear like the way that it was. Yeah, like the vocals were like put in there, like the like way that the guitar was placed in, how they actually put in like the little like drum bridge in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just like a whole bunch of things like that. And then later on, also starting to see like the more like P Funk influences.
Mm-hmm.
With like basically like how in the beginning they were basically much more like a parliament band.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But then, but yeah, and then you just start to hear like how everybody like comes into their own. To me, that's one of the most beautiful things, though, when you start to see like that moment where you're not only just like playing something, you're not just singing a word, you're not just playing a note. It becomes something like more than that. It's like there's something about your soul actually being like settled into like that note, and it just means like so much more, and you can like feel that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to go to now too. Like it's a point where you learn in school things, C scale, your scales or your rudiments or your rhythms or your bass and your keys and you learn things and then there's technique, set forms and sections and but then where I'm at with it right now, it's just like it's like the feeling, the emotion, the emotive side of things. Like that's why I like some abstract music. And some abstract music, I don't feel no emotion. I don't feel it. You know what I mean? Just like that. I don't, what it's nobody's concentrating or something. Nobody's focusing or something, but focused abstractions are amazing to me. So
Okay, yo, real talk. Like, so I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
like I have this personal like little like scale like in my mind. Um, because yeah, like I've always been into like more experimentalish kind of musics and things too. And
mm-hmm,
so it's man, it's like this. It's good to explore. Yeah, that's it's imperative to explore in order to push
mm-hmm,
anything forward. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
but I do think that there's a certain level where for some, when it comes to certain kinds of abstractions and exploring,
mm-hmm.
they don't have a certain connection to it.
Right, exactly.
But then the other thing is that so you can hear that and you can
Yeah,
feel that. And there's
right.
something about once things like sort of like evolve into like another way where you can see that that technique is something that's a part of that person. Sorry, it's not just like exploring an idea. It's more so like as if this experimentation and this initial exploration was to be able to develop a tool, a machine for the person to like play that as part of like the instrument, basically. I don't know if that makes sense or whatnot.
Wait, yeah, I think it does make sense, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, and so I think, yeah, it's very important to do it.
Hmm.
Honestly, it's like what is it like? What is it like? The folks like Pierre Schaefer and like Enos Xenakis or whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So like folks like that. Yeah, definitely like love to see that and be exposed to it. And just this idea of like music concrete. But I feel like later okay, this probably sounds like crazy as shit, but I'm just gonna say it. There's sometimes where I feel like music concrete was this sort of like exploration of those sorts of things. And
Yeah.
like hip hop in general was when it was like applied
Mm,
with like soul a little bit more.
yeah.
Yeah. And so of course it could be the part of it is that it was used with like records and things, records and pre-recorded things. But I think there's also like other elements where it's just like found sounds, and I think that's something that, yeah, I think it's
It's
just a part of it, and I think that this was when those things started to gather a bit more meaning, basically.
yeah, it's an evolution, man. I hear a lot of the jazz guys dis electronics and modern music and things like that. And it's like, man, it's just sound, man. Just the way your drum set is a sound, the drum machine is a sound, and just like your my saxophone is a sound, that little synth sound, it's just a sound, an 808 beat, with big, it's just a sound. And it's an evolution. Even and like you said, like the samples or things already made sounds, being used in creative ways. Like you see, that's what I think people forget, man. They get caught up in whatever they get caught up in, but creativity is like infinite, man.